Hello, everyone, and welcome to what is the second live stream of me attempting to try to create my own OBS system from scratch. So, what does this actually entail? Well, this entails a multi-camera setup. So, right here, we're looking at the back of me. I have a camera behind me, and then I have a 360 camera in the top left corner over here. And then I have this other tripod which is right here. Hello. So what I wanted to kind of showcase and talk about, if this is hopefully working, I'm just going to talk and pretend like it is because it says that it is, that's a good sign. But I built out my own software from scratch and I started dusting off some old hardware. Okay. So this is an old stream deck. All right. This allows me to control the live stream in real time. So we're just going to jump back over to the 360 camera, and then we're going to move back to the back camera. Now, this is where it really gets cool. This isn't just connected to, just this little OBS system, okay? This OBS system, or I guess practical control, it's available on all of the cameras. So I can directly, as you can kind of see here, I can directly control it. I can zoom in, I can zoom out. I can set viewports from this magical device myself, or I can use it as a practical way to kind of jump in between the different cameras and have these conversations with you. So what I found, and I think most people can agree, I don't know how many YouTube videos you watch a day, but I watch a few, and the majority of the content, everyone is sitting right here and they are practically just trying to share their screen. So it's something like this, all right? They're having this type of viewing experience where like, oh my gosh, all right, we're going to do a live stream and we're just going to be talking and you're going to be looking at me in this camera view the whole time. You know what I mean? But in general, like we are not meant to be sitting here, and a lot of people's workflows, they aren't meant for this. You know what I mean? And it's kind of it's pretty boring in my opinion. I think that this is the only view that most people see in videography. It's pretty lame. And I think that with AI, and I guess we'll move back over to kind of talking about this. But okay, so if you really think about it, all right, we were playing in what was old school RuneScape. All right, this is what life was prior to COVID, prior to AI. It was pretty basic. Our careers, our trajectories, like the amount of knowledge and things that we could actually do, it was practically pretty limited. But thankfully, and I think that this is going to be a net benefit. Okay, hear me out. It's Claude. Okay, I think that Claude AI, just in general, it has been a net positive. And what I'm witnessing and what this thing has allowed me the ability to do is practically build out anything from scratch. Your own video editor, build it. You want to build out your own e-commerce network, build it. The possibilities of practically giving the average person, the ability to create some of the top, social media networks or e-commerce networks, like all these applications that are juggernauts, like that. This is affordable where an individual can kind of manage it, which is insane. So it's totally changed the game in my perspective, and it's taken like the requirement for like what you do, like you got to be really good at it, and you have to kind of have an approach to like what you do and focus AI to pair it to your workflow to be like a 10x developer. And the way that I'm doing it is like I'm creating this office. I want it to be smart so that it can kind of help me through different things. So let's kind of talk about this a little bit further, and there's a lot to kind of explain. Let's kind of share what is the actual application that I am recording this on right now. To give you a perspective, okay, I am trying to do this, all right? I'm trying to, as this mirrors out in this effect, I'm trying to do the same thing in the way that I stream my media and how it shares and how it distributes, right? There's a lot of different distribution networks. There's a lot of other different players, and a lot of people get tied on to like, hey, which one do I start on? in my opinion, if you build out your own software, you can jump onto anything, right? This whole system, it's not limited to just, YouTube. It could stream on Twitch. It could stream on Facebook. It could basically spread out, and you're trying to cast a bigger net. You know what I mean? So this allows me, like, and on this back one real quick, you can kind of see, but it allows me direct control, over the different viewports. I can set those on the right-hand side, and I have these tabs that allow me to go over here, and each individual zone, it takes a screenshot of that zone so that it has an understanding of what that zone would look like. And then it's paired with like an upload feature. So like individual media over here. So if I switch over to like this, anyway, so the media that I upload, it could get thrown onto a zone and I could show it in scene, right? And then outside of that, you have the director. The director's pretty interesting, and I'll kind of share and show that, but it allows me to practically control the lights, and it allows me to kind of use an AI director to kind of control the scene. So what I will do is I will switch over to this, and I'll remove the actual screen share. And what we're going to talk about is the director. So I'm going to put on the driver, and you're going to kind of see it in action, but basically it's able to be like a turret, and it can focus what is this 360 camera to tie on to any person and any movement, and then it will kind of focus on that. So I'd like to extend out these 360 cameras and other facets. Like I have a boat. I'd like to put the 360 camera on a boat and let it, kind of be able to spot things like fish, or, it's just very interesting to see what AI is capable of doing whenever it has to do with photography or videography. And the majority of that, and being able to work with it, it's the software. So with that, the other thing that I think would be interesting to share is it is the lights. So with the lights in the back, I can turn them on and off, and I can control them. And yeah, so there you go. Just turned on. Trying to turn it off. They take a little bit, but I'm trying to get better lights. And they seem to kind of work and sometimes don't, but it's interesting. Because ideally with that screenshot, the way that I'm kind of trying to build this out is that whenever I create these viewports, they create scenes. And ideally I want all the lighting on individual angles. So as I jump in between different angles in the software, I'd like for it to change the lighting to specifically create the best scene possible. Right now I'm just kind of creating this broad light that's just a bunch of bright lights that are supposed to drown out the scene. But yeah, these are just kind of things that I'm thinking about and trying to automate, and just trying to exploring how to create a videography software that allows me to live stream and have control over my office. So I am excited to kind of expand this out further. I think that the best way to kind of share and show and talk about it is I will move over to this presentation I kind of have prepared. Right. So if I go over to, what is this, Canvas? This is a separate application, and I have a network of applications. And they all facilitate different purposes, or they kind of do different things. This is an infinite canvas type of tool, and it allows me like this AI whiteboard that I could kind of use this as a bucket to drop information on, and it structures it out in a way that I can kind of use it in other projects, retain it, and it allows like full functionality. And it's very interesting. So like right now, like these are actual web pages. So I'm kind of showcasing like what is, like this is the actual live stream that's probably going on right now. And then what I'm showing on this specific whiteboard is I'm kind of showing the setup of the way that I'm kind of thinking about this. These are the cameras that I'm using, which allow this to kind of be possible. Luckily, I just bought Insta360, and they were all Insta360. And if they were plugged into the computer, then I'm good to go. But luckily, I can take on a lot of cameras and ports on my computer. Ideally, I'd like to do an Elgato streaming light or something to kind of focus some of this lighting and automate it even further. Groove lights have been great for me. The Stream Deck, which we've already kind of talked about. Custom software, yeah, you kind of need that. It makes it a lot more fun, in my opinion. And then the way that I kind of go about that, and the best way is kind of compartmentalizing your work. I create my own documentation, and from that documentation, it's allowed me to focus on and create a bunch of components. So if I go over here and if I go over to the documentation, it allows me to section it out in markdown file format. And I've kind of created it in a way where, like, at the very top, there's this llms.txt. So if I paste that into the chat or like into the browser, you can kind of see a readable format that a AI could actually use and understand. So for any project or anything that I'm building out, I'm trying to compartmentalize into these individual components, as you can see here, and into these individual source codes. And I create documentation to kind of showcase and highlight what are these difficult projects and problems, right? So with that, the goal is that this all kind of interconnects, and it allows me to build software really fast. The way that I was able to build out this OBS system in practically 3 days was because I have really great organization. It's just housekeeping, guys. It's not that difficult. But yeah, with that, let's kind of jump back into what was this canvas. But yeah, I'm using the Dash framework for running a lot of the applications that I have. I have probably about 20 different apps spread out in a bunch of different industries, but the apps are a lot more capable now in the 4.2 update. And from what I'm seeing in performance and just how it's able to build on this, I'm just so impressed. But with that, I've also paired it with a Postgres SQL database. And then I have YouTube, Twitch, or my bad. It's been a long night. We're at 11:30. But I have Cloudflare. Cloudflare has been really paramount in kind of getting all this to work. All the applications are using CDNs, which are paramount in at least being able to have this interactive instant experience from actually being able to stream and be able to present images on a stream. You need to have it on a CDN. You know, you need to kind of structure out how you manage the gluttony, and it's base 64. It's all these little aspects and applications that you don't really consider, but you need to offload all the heavy work within the apps that you build so that, at least the media side, it's managed by its own system. And then your app is just running what is just the software. So with that, the goal is to like extend out the automation a little bit more. The application in general, you can think of it in like 3 different forms, right? I have a bunch of different tools and this 2plot media app that I've kind of been building, this OBS system that I'm streaming on right now. But yeah, it allows me to live stream. So this was the first live stream. This is going to be the second. But yeah, and then you have shorts. So shorts is a different medium. It's what's going on TikTok. It's what the majority of people are consuming. It's what gets the most views. So I think that shorts are paramount in a business to actually be able to start to get traction. You kind of want to use all these different tools. So you're trying to throw a broad net in how you kind of tackle in and market. But with shorts specifically, I am trying to automate it out. And ideally, I'm creating software to see if I could just splice individual videos that I make, or alternatively automate out the whole videography through just map projection and a bunch of other different strange R&D approaches. The last main medium is like the typical like tutorial video or the long form media, and the way that I can kind of look at this is like, okay, you can think of like the sole like videographer, and I think that a really good example would be these 2 YouTube channels. So Johnny Harris, he does very good videos, and he spends a lot of time in After Effects and just like creating this whole, cinematic experience. And this takes, I'm assuming he puts months into an individual video before it goes into, an actual release. A very polished experience. There's just a team behind it. That's not something that I can afford as a active developer. And I'd be leaning more towards what is Theo. I think Theo is a pretty good role model in this space, but from the stuff that he kind of builds out and what he does is he initially got his start on Twitch, and he was doing, software and work and all that, and then he kind of saw the workflows, and I think from that he was able to, and with the introduction of AI and just great timing and a little bit of luck, but with what was the understanding of how things work behind the scenes, I can already see that he is starting to use AI and implement it into his own business, in the videography side, where a lot of it is automated, from, the live streams that he's doing to the way they're spliced to what, I guarantee you he has many, many workflows. But these are two, very distinctive, different videography styles, and for me, what is, paramount is like, I just want something that's going to be fast paced. I want something that allows me to just quickly provide something that is a little bit, different, that changes the perspectives, and it makes it a little bit easier to keep retention, rather than just having the typical, I sit at a desk and you look at me perspective. I want to actually move into other desks. I want to have other conversations, and I kind of want to show off different things. This is the goal in kind of creating what is an AI office. But yeah, with that, I won't extend this out too long. I hope that you guys find this interesting. This, at the end of the day, is practically just me farming for views as I try to figure out the best way to build and automate my business, the marketing, and try to expand out on what is this new internet that I found myself playing within. But yeah, with that, let me know what you think of the whole system, what you think of, actually, I would consider this probably the first live stream. If you liked it, like it in the description down below, subscribe. I only have 10 subscribers. So this is from scratch. Let's see how it goes.